Michigan Out of Doors Online is brought to you in part by Tri-County Logging. Experienced in sustainable forestry practices, Tri-County Logging can help you manage your property by keeping your woods healthy and generate income. Serving southern and mid-Michigan for nearly 50 years, TriCountyLogging.com.
Hi everyone, welcome to Michigan Out of Doors. I'm Jenny Silik and we've got an all-new show in store for you this week. We're going to show you part 2 of our DNR series. We sat down with big game specialist Chad Stewart, and this week we're asking him questions from you, the viewers. It's a very interesting segment. You won't want to miss that. And Jimmy's got an adventure in store for us this week.
Well, that's right, Jenny. We do have a few more things on this week's show. I was able to get up to the Indian River area recently and do a little fishing on Mullett Lake. We'll show you what that's all about, and I think we have time for a bragging board on this week's show as well. Lots of good stuff. You stay tuned. I'm Jimmy Gretzinger. It's time for Michigan Out of Doors.
From the first spring rains to the soft summer breeze, dancing on the pine forest floor, the autumn colors catch your eyes. Here come the crystal winter skies. It's Michigan, Michigan out of doors.
What a beautiful day in the woods.
Someday our children all will see this is their finest legacy, the wonder and the love of Michigan. As the wind comes whispering through the trees, the sweet smell of nature's in the air. From the Great Lakes to the quiet stream, shining like a sportsman's dream, it's a love of Michigan we all share.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by Country Smokehouse, a sportsman's meat processor and Michigan destination since 1988, offers a variety of homemade smoked meats and Michigan-made products in-store and online. The Country Smokehouse features an outdoor barbecue and bar. Details at countrysmokehouse.com. By Greenmark Equipment. Greenmark Equipment is a John Deere dealership network in southwest Michigan and northern Indiana. Greenmark provides sales and services to farmers, commercial businesses, large property owners, and homeowners. Information about pricing and products available can be found online at greenmarkequipment.com. By AnglerQuest Pontoons. AnglerQuest is a Michigan-based company building boats designed for comfort and fishing functionality. For more information about the 2022 models, anglerquestpontoons.com. By Polar Craft Boats, offering riveted and welded boats for the outdoor enthusiast. Whether you're targeting fish or waterfowl, Polar Craft Boats have several models to choose from that keep you high and dry. For more information, polarcraft.com.
Okay, well, we are here with Chad once again, and we are going to get back into talking deer with the big game specialist here in the state of Michigan. And we are going to, these are questions that came from you directly, the viewers, through our Facebook page. So, Chad, I'm just going to fire away. And I'm going to put on my cheaters because I'm old. And, okay, so Derek Dickerson asked this. APR restrictions. This past year was the end of the study. Will it continue? Hopefully the answer is yes.
So he's talking about the 3 counties that were put in Mecosta, Montcalm, and Ionia counties as part of the CWD APR research project. That was designed to be a 3-year study, and the 3rd year was 2021. A couple years ago, our Natural Resources Commission applied a sunset to that regulation. So essentially, after the 2021 season concluded, then that regulation went away. So
that would not be in place this
essentially
next year.
To have APRs remaining in those 3 counties for the 22 season, an act would have to be made to put them back in, essentially, because as of right now, that regulation has, I guess, expired.
Okay. So Derek, sorry on that one. Ken Blust, in 2012, the Zone 2 muzzleloader season began December the 14th, giving the woods a 2-week resting period after gun season. Why, since then, has Zone 2 started less than a week after gun season has been completed?
Yeah, so there's a couple things going on there. Back in 2012, like you said, Zone 2 and Zone 3 had different season lengths for muzzleloader. Zone 3 was a little bit longer. Zone 2 was obviously a little bit shorter. And the way they were coincided was their end date, so they both went out at the same date. That means Zone 2 started later for muzzleloader season than Zone 3 did. A couple years after that, the decision was made that they wanted all the starting dates to be in unison, across the region. So that means instead of coinciding that they all went out at the same date, now they all came in at the same date, and then muzzleloader in Zone 2 left earlier. So that automatically brought Zone 2 earlier in the December calendar in terms of starting.
Okay. Joe Barry is asking, when can we get our muzzleloader only season back?
So again, Joe's referring to the recent change a couple years ago that allowed basically any legal firearms to be used in Zone 3 during the muzzleloader season. So I think first and foremost, it's important to point out that Zone 1 and Zone 2 are still traditional muzzleloader seasons.
So go north is what you're saying.
So yeah, we still have traditional muzzleloader seasons up in those northern latitudes. In Zone 3, what we looked at, some of the data when we made that decision, was that of all of the seasons that we have, the lowest success rate for hunters was our muzzleloader season. And that even includes the late antlerless season, which follows muzzleloader season. We found that those hunters had a higher success rate in taking a deer than the muzzleloader season. So we want our hunters to be successful. We know that since 2000, we've lost over 200,000 hunters in Michigan. And we know in Zone 3, we have more deer than any other spot in Michigan. We have also a lot more hunters and a lot more private land. So we looked at our muzzleloader season and thought, why are we continuing to be so restrictive in terms of opportunity? It's part of an equity piece too that allows continued participation with increased success rates, what we hope, based on the weapon that's being used.
Okay. So yes, go north for muzzleloading. Kevin Walter asks this, please ask about moving opening day to a fixed day of the week like the second or third Friday. My school-age son won't be able to go out on opening day until 2024. People say the youth aren't out in the woods and with the current rules don't have the opportunity to participate in the traditions of deer camp to get them hooked. What would you say to Kevin?
Yeah, I hear that quite a bit, Kevin, and ultimately when we do our surveys, up to 85% of the hunters still maintain support for that November 15th historical start date.
Is that something you check, like every year you survey people? Or?
Not every year, it's every couple years we've done it. I think it's probably been about 3 or 4 years, but we've probably asked that question 3 times in the last 15 years, and the amount of support has very little wavering, within a short, small support range. So, it's really hard to make a regulation change knowing that 85% of the people that you have surveyed would be against that change.
Okay. Rob Arthur wants to know why seniors have to pay full price for a doe tag.
It's a good question, Rob. It's a really good question. I know we have discounts that are applied for like the combo license. We know that not many hunters are going to take more than 2 deer anyway, and obviously with the recent changes that allow you to take an antlerless deer on that combo license during the firearms and muzzleloader season, there still is that opportunity with a senior discount on the combo license to take 2 deer. But that's a great question. It's something that I think probably deserves more discussion in our department, honestly.
There you go, Rob. You got one through there. Okay, Justin Miller, on this year's deer harvest survey, it mentions the possibility of unused buck tags being transferable, allowing a hunter to shoot as many bucks as tags obtained. Am I interpreting that right? Is this being considered?
Yeah, so that question was developed because I'm sure you hear it, a lot of hunters, talk about it. We hear it a lot too. Why aren't your regulations more like, and then pick a state, Ohio, Illinois, Indiana, Iowa, Wisconsin, you name it. That's actually a regulation that the state of Iowa has. It's sort of like a party hunting, where you can go out and transfer the tag to somebody. So, the idea is that if you're out in a group of 3 or 4 people, maybe you have 2 tags and one person can shoot 2, which means that every deer will have a tag, but it's not going to be harvested by different individuals. So it's one of those things that we just wanted to gauge the temperature for the Michigan hunter to see if that's something that they would have an appetite for.
Okay. Richard Johnson, we got a couple more here. How are we managing for poaching? The area where I hunt is heavily poached. The signs are abundant. We have reported it, but nothing seems to come of it. What would you say to Richard?
Yeah, I would say continue calling what we call our report all poaching, our RAP line. That number is right on the front of any hunting and trapping digest, really easily obtained. That's something that we have obviously our law enforcement officers are obviously passionate about is, making sure that hunters are abiding by the rules and regulations that are set forth, and obviously if that's going to have an impact on our resource, that hurts everybody. So I would just say continue reaching out, and you should be able to get an answer on that.
This is one of the things I kind of wanted to get your take on as well, but this is Scott Borchelt asked, what impact is the DNR seeing on deer mortality, especially fawn mortality, from the growing wolf population?
Yeah, so there's been some research been done up in the Upper Peninsula over the past decade or so. It's called the Predator-Prey Research Project. It started off as phase 1, which was in the low snowfall zone in and around like Menominee County. Phase 2 bumped up into what they call the mid snowfall zone, and then phase 3, which I think just recently concluded, and I haven't seen some of those numbers yet, is in the high snowfall zone. They looked at a lot of impacts of predators and mortality on a lot of collared animals that they have. And what they saw, you almost have to, the UP is so diverse, you almost have to tease it out based on where you're at. So in phase 1, what we saw in terms of adult doe survival was very high, well over 85%. In terms of fawn survival, I think it ranged anywhere from about maybe 40 to 60% each year. In terms of percent predation, of all the animals that were predated, what caused it, for fawns, I think the dominant cause of predation in phase 1, which is the low snowfall zone, was coyotes. Wolves, I think, were less than 10%, and wolves were a little bit higher, I think, for the adult doe side of things. As you get up into that second phase, adult doe survival is a little bit lower than what it was in phase 1, which makes sense. They're dealing with conditions that you typically don't see. Fawn survival was very variable, but and I think it ranged from 0% to probably in the 30 to 40% range. But keep in mind that when they were in phase 2, they had really severe winters in that 13, 14 time frame. So that certainly had an impact. And then in terms of predation on fawns, again, I think wolves were below coyotes in terms of, for fawns, in terms of total number or percentage of mortalities associated with that. So, I think when you talk about wolves in UP, they're definitely obviously part of the equation, but I think there's a little bit of caution in just pointing one finger to one animal. That you really have to look at the UP as a complexity of different events that are going on.
Well, thank you to the viewers for the different questions, and thanks, Chad, for your time. Always appreciate it.
Thanks, Jimmy. Appreciate it.
Well, special thanks to Chad for sitting down with us, and thank you to all of you viewers who sent in questions. It's always good to kind of get your pulse on what is important to you when it comes to our deer herd and our deer population. We're going to shift gears now and do a little ice fishing on Mullett Lake, a great place to be. It's a tough lake to fish, but I tell you what, it is a lot of fun out there on the water. Adam, how do you pick a spot on a lake this big?
Yeah, well, I mean, with walleye, you're looking for this time of year probably a little deeper than what you normally would want, right about what you normally would think. Kind of that cold part of the winter where the fish are a little more dormant, moving on a little deeper. But we're looking for pinch points, so we chose around us, and then we're in that transition of the depth contour there. So we're hoping that these fish are cruising along this drop, moving up to that shallower water to feed it in the evening bite. And these are some custom spoons from Frank's Great Outdoors. They're JD Customs. So he sent me some to try on this trip, so we're going to give them a shot. And purple's usually good for walleye. And this is my old standby. Got a little rattle in there. Buckshot spoon. An old timer showed me that probably 15 years ago, and I've caught so many walleye on that spoon. It's crazy.
On the dead stick.
On the dead stick. And it's the wrong species.
Yeah, well, that's a nice perch.
That's a nice perch, though.
Yeah. Well, we didn't get skunked.
Didn't get skunked. I think we're gonna let this one go, though.
All right. What did he hit that on?
That was just on a blue shiner. That's a real small blue, or a real big perch minnow, on a dead stick. So, but I hit him on the jig first and missed him.
Gotcha.
You didn't get to see that part. I'll admit it.
Well, what do we got here, young man?
Well, Jimmy just caught a walleye on my old go-to that we talked about a little earlier. Just a
if the
black
cameraman
buckshot.
can do it, anybody can do it. That's a nice one.
That's a nice walleye. Yeah. I'm gonna let you know what it tastes like, Jimmy.
Well, thanks for letting me use your
Awesome.
rod there, young fella.
I think
Man,
we ought
you
to.
hit that, I was like, oh, that was the first real hit we've had.
That's a great fish. Beautiful Mullett Lake walleye.
I don't know if I've ever caught a walleye on Mullett Lake. I've seen them a few times before, but it's
Yeah,
a tough lake to fish.
It's definitely a learning curve for sure. I haven't quite spent enough time out here to get her dialed in, but we have a lot of good fishermen here with us this weekend. There's 15 of us fishing. We got about a 17-inch walleye right there.
Perfect.
16-inch walleye. Perfect eater.
That's what they look like.
All right, let's get another one.
Let's do it.
All right.
Well, the fishing was a little slower than we had hoped, but it was fun to get out on the water. Adam and his buddies rent a place right on the lake every year, and what a great fish camp. Fishing tonight was just a bonus, as my main plan was to fish the morning with a couple of local guys. So the next morning, on a different part of this giant lake, I joined good friend Pat Mousseau and his buddy Gary Wilkie to see if we could find some perch. Now, you can walk out on Mullett Lake, but if you do, well, you're gonna walk a lot. So a sled, a four-wheeler, or Pat's gator, well, makes life much easier.
Well, we're gonna see if we can get a couple perch on a perch rig with an above water tip up. These are pretty typical here in the Indian River. Locals usually make them, and with the large wheel, you don't end up with the line memory, and they don't freeze up on the cold weather. So it best of both worlds. And hopefully we'll get a few perch on it. We're gonna fish with a couple of minnows. You can see we're using buttons to spread the minnows apart, and hopefully here we can get one or two to bite.
How's the fishing been?
It's been sporadic. We got good days and bad days, and unfortunately this year we got great ice. More bad days than good days, but I'm pretty sure we'll get a few tonight, or this morning.
Got a flag?
Yep, got a flag. Yeah, let's see if we got him. I don't think we got some weight down there, but a little perch. All right,
Hey, that's a keeper.
it is a keeper. We're on the board.
Nice job.
First one of the trip. Hopefully one of many. Probably 9 plus. There we go. Mullett Lake perch.
There we go.
Good, bugger. Well, hopefully we'll get one this time. Another swing and a miss. Oh, hey, behind you. Fish running. Oh. This is about the same, maybe a little better.
What do we got?
Look at the perch. Oh yeah, nice one.
Ooh.
A little nicer.
Got a little
All right.
belly to him.
All right, that one's slightly bigger than the last one. All right,
Good work.
there we go.
You got a sandwich there.
Oh yeah. I'm thinking 2 pieces of bread and a frying pan. We're good to go. Came on the top hook too, so. All right, we missed one on that tip up and got one on this.
And you said one of your buddies has got 9
He's
somewhere
got
in there?
9 so far, yep. Just not too far on the ice. He's catching them on wigglers. But he said they're running a little smaller than this, so hopefully we'll get one of the really nice ones for the camera today.
Good. So with the couple of keepers here, I opted to head down the lake a few hundred yards to Mike Rakowski's shack to see his setup and continue to see how the locals fish this lake.
Well, what we're doing, we always have a rod that has some kind of attractor on it. It could be a jig and rapala that we bounce off the bottom. In this case, it's a little Castmaster spoon with a 4-inch drop and wigglers on it. And then 2 dead sticks with minnows. And the dead sticks are really effective, but the schools roam so much that it's good to have an attractor to bring them in. So.
Okay. And are you trying to fish drop-offs or flats or a little bit of both? Or?
You know, it's just kind of counterintuitive. You'd think you'd fish the breaks, but this is just one big flat here. And we think they're in here, you know, chasing minnows and feeding on bugs on the bottom. So.
Okay. And how often do you get out and fish?
Oh, as much as possible. I'm retired, so maybe 4 or 5 days a week.
Awesome. Nice. Well, thanks for letting us poke our head in here.
Hey, you bet.
We were about wrapped up for the day when, wouldn't you know, the biggest fish of the day made an appearance.
What happened here?
Well, looks like we had one that didn't trip the tip up.
Yeah, we were just getting ready to pull lines, and this is never seen that happen on a tip. That is a
Nice perch. Yeah, probably 11 inches.
Jeez, and he was just on there and never tripped it.
Never tripped it. Yep. He was just sitting down there holding on to it.
Wow. Well,
there we go.
that's a dandy.
On a beautiful day in Michigan, right?
Burt and mullet can be hard to fish, but they draw a lot of anglers, and at times they can be a ton of fun. So whether it's fish camp or you and a buddy, hard water or soft, come up and try it here in Michigan's Out of Doors.
Thanks so much for joining us this week for Michigan Out of Doors. Make sure you stick around in upcoming weeks. We've got a lot of great things headed your way. We'll take you out on a coyote hunt. We'll show you how to reload some of your own ammo. And of course, we'll have our big buck nights east and west coming up as well. If you'd like to see where we are and where we're headed next, you can always check us out online.
Well, that's right, Jenny. Online is a great way to kind of keep tabs on us. You can do that through our website and, of course, all the different social media platforms that we're a part of. We're also on YouTube there. If you want to subscribe to our channel, you can get an email every time we post something new. And there will be a lot of new stuff coming over the next several weeks. We got big buck nights right around the corner. We got to sit down with some charter boat captains that we did kind of a roundtable discussion. So much good stuff coming over the next several weeks. If we don't see you in the woods or on the water, hopefully we'll see you right back here next week on your PBS station.
Michigan Out of Doors is presented by.
Do you dream of somewhere bigger than your backyard? You can get there with Greenstone. Whether you want to hunt, fish, hike, or just watch the sunset, we're ready to help you own your place in the great outdoors. To learn more, visit greenstonefcs.com.
By Alta Equipment Company, providing sales, rentals, service, and parts because uptime matters. From earth moving to landscaping and light construction, Alta offers over 50 brands across 7 Michigan locations to serve you. More information online or 844-GO-2-ALTA. By RBM Jigs, a Michigan-based company serving ice fishing anglers around the state and throughout the country. Specializing in ice fishing gear, RBM Jigs manufactures tungsten jigs, soft plastics, and much more. Online at lakeeffectlures.com.
Closed captioning provided by Marvo Mineral, makers of Lucky Buck, deer management products including minerals to supplement deer diets year-round to improve health and antler growth.
When I wander far away, a dream stays with me night and day. It's the road that leads to my home state. I am a Michigan man. Changing seasons paint the scene like rainbow trout in a hidden stream. The white-tailed deer in the tall pine trees. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above, I love this land. I am a Michigan man. From the Keweenaw down to St. Joe, Kalamazoo, East to Monroe, to St. Marie and back again. I am a Michigan man. I am a Michigan man. Ask where I'm from and I'll show you my hands. Lord above,